How much does your realtor actually make? That's a question we see come up a lot, right? Especially lately. By any stereotype, you look at a realtor with their fancy car and their fancy shoes and their suit or their dress or whatever it is that they wear to come to your house. As a general rule of thumb, realtors give the impression that we make oodles of money. I mean, we've got to look professional, don't we? It's easy to think that, too, when you look at the percentage that you're paying them for the sale of your house. But what is reality? I'm here today to break it down for you a little bit and let you know that your realtor doesn't make nearly as much as you think. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Let's go over a standard example. We're just going to use round numbers, just keep it simple, but I want to give you guys a very solid idea of exactly how much money your realtor, that is your average realtor, is actually making. Say you've listed your home for $500,000 and by some stroke of luck, that's what it sells for. Say your realtor has charged 6% on the first $100,000 and 3% on the balance. That adds up to $6,000 for the first $100,000 and then $12,000 for the remainder, adding up to a total commission of $18,000 that the seller pays to sell their home to both the listing brokerage and the cooperating brokerage combined. The cooperating brokerage would be the buyer's brokerage. This amount is split between both brokerages at an agreed upon rate. So for example, the listing agent might retain 3% on the first $100,000 and 1.75% on the balance, while the buyer's agent will retain 3% on the first $100,000 and 1.25% on the balance. The listing agent usually retains the greater share. Just a reminder, these numbers are hypothetical, just used for the purposes of this example. Sometimes they'll fluctuate because every agent is a little bit different. These are very common values. So let's go forward with the listing agent's actual true income based on your listing. So at 3% on the first $100,000, you've got $3,000. 1.75% on the balance, which would be the remaining $400,000, is $7,000 for a grand total of $10,000. That looks amazing, doesn't it? Really, really something to see on paper. Oh my God, I just made $10,000, I'm rich. Reality, not so much. Looks great, but the truth is in the numbers. Of that $10,000, say the average brokerage takes 30%. Boom, done. $10,000 minus 30% is $7,000. The agent also has to pay GST right away. That money was never theirs. It's an amount that's set out on their statement. So for the purposes of this example, let's say it's $352. No big deal, whatever. That money's gone. $7,000 minus $352 is $6,648. Okay. Now to finish off this particular commission, we can use the rule of thirds, just to keep it simple. A third goes to income tax because we have to do that ourselves. Another third goes to business expenses like the advertising we did on your listing, the photos that we took on your listing, the cost of listing your property in the first place, and anything extra we might have done to help you sell your property. That also includes gas and brokerage fees that we have to pay every month, and then more gas when we're taking you around in your next property. Some of that also goes to support the growth of our business. Finally, leftover is a third for your actual income that you can, do whatever with. Usually that will go toward your living expenses and whatnot. So to break it down a little bit further, 6,648 divided by 3 as per the rule of thirds, that's 2,216 going to your income tax, another 2,216 going to your business expenses, and finally another 2,216 that goes toward your income. Now, that's not a terrible income for a month, right? 2,216? Sweet paycheck per month. But what if that income has to last you 2 months? How about 3? Let's divide that 3 again, because the average commission for a lot of agents will need to last about 3 months. A commission-based business means income isn't guaranteed, especially in slow periods. You're looking at $738 for the month as an actual income. That is a far, far cry from $10,000. Now, obviously, this builds on itself with each listing, presumably, that the agent will get, or rather, not just a listing, but any deal, any commission, it would build on itself. But that's a lot of work for the agent. So just if we're talking about just one deal as per this example, that agent has made $738 for a maximum of 3 months, and then they don't have any money left, either for further business expenses or income. So if they're trying to live off of their real estate income, or if they're trying to support their business through their real estate income, that's as far as it goes. It's not nearly as much as you think when you lay it out with all the numbers like that. The reason I wanted to address this today was just because sometimes there's a lot of times, like I said before, there's the presumption, the stereotype, the appearance that realtors are all just rolling in money, that we're rich or greedy. This is not true. Are there agents that do very, very well? Absolutely. Are there greedy agents? Also absolutely. There are agents that do very, very well. They make $100,000 in the year, $200,000, $300,000 gross. However, what they actually get to keep, as per this example, is much, much different. Why is this something we should think about? Well, it can be really scary to look at those numbers when you are in things. Whether you're deciding to list your home and you see this big scary percentage and this realtor sitting in front of you asking for all of this money, it can be hard to look at that big giant amount and think, well, my God, you're making so much money. Why are you asking me for so much money? How is that fair to me? That's a fair question, and I do hope that this answers that to some degree. There is a method to the madness, I promise. Realtors are responsible for all of the expenses associated with their own business. It is not cheap to be a realtor, which is why the fees that realtors charge are often so high. It is also worth noting, I've said it in other videos, when you come across realtors that are willing to either discount their commission or they're what might be called a 1% realtor, do keep in mind that you are getting what you pay for because so much of their money has to go towards supporting their business and supporting you as their client. If they're only charging 1% on the entire thing, that's not going to go nearly as far as you think. Especially if you're hiring them to list your house and they need to advertise and they need to get photos and possibly stage your property or whatever else they need to do to make your listing sell. They're trying to live off of that income and sell your house. Which one do you think they're going to pick? If they don't have the money coming in to support that, that will inevitably affect their performance as your realtor because it has to. I hope you found this valuable today and maybe a little bit of an eye-opener. We're not all rich. Real estate can be a great career, absolutely. There's a lot of flexibility. It's certainly nice being your own boss. Of course, you have to have a lot of discipline to go with it, but there are a lot of costs that also go with it. It is a very expensive job to have. Now, obviously, I love my job. It is one of my favorite things to do. I love being in the industry, especially compared to something like healthcare, where there was a lot of down and burnout moments, versus real estate as something, as a general rule, I get to do because it's a happy place. It can be exciting for a first-time buyer to look for their first home. It can be exciting for a seller to sell their apartment and upsize to a townhome because their family's growing, or an investor coming in, whether they're seasoned or brand new and they get to find that epic deal. It's fun for me. I enjoy it. It's a great job. It's fulfilling, but it is an expensive job to maintain. I hope you all have a great day and give your realtor a little love next time you see them. They work hard for you. Bye.